Welcome back to Memes and Markets. Why can't I adjust the layout here?
It's just you, Ben.
I know. There we go. I got it sorted now. Keith, how are you, man?
Today's the best day of my life, Ben. How you doing?
Today's freaking awesome because we have an episode that I've been wanting to have for a while. We have Steven here with us. I'll throw it over to you, Steven, if you could give us a quick rundown on who you are, what you do, and what you care about.
Yeah, I'm a investigative journalist, documentary filmmaker. Have been for many, many years now. I've done multiple investigations into very unique and niche subjects. My most recent of which is UFOs.
So awesome, man. I'm a big UFO fan. I find it all super fascinating, and I think there's a lot of misdirection in all this stuff. So super excited to pick your brain on everything that you found through your research. So Keith's not into the subject whatsoever. So I think what would be great, Steven, is if you could take us to like the ground floor of like what is foundational stuff that people should know.
Right. So UFOs is a very traditionally American phenomena. It's an American myth. Mostly rooted, it goes back to the post-World War II atomic fears, fears about the atomic war and new technology that seemed godlike to us. Nuclear atomic energy seemed very like the powers of the universe were suddenly being harnessed on planet Earth. And so there was all this psychological stuff going on. And then in 1947, there was like this massive hysteria nationwide where everyone was suddenly seeing flying saucers that either were or weren't actually there. They were misinterpreting like balloons and normal planes as these otherworldly flying saucers. And it's there was an element of counterintelligence to it because we were starting to heat up our Cold War with the Russians at the time, and we were depleted post World War II. We were depleted with a lot of our military resources, so we had to create the intelligence community created intelligence and smart ways to keep the Russians guessing.
Okay.
Like, they created these like stories to keep the Russians going like, wait, what? The Americans have what? And saucers played a role in that, where the Russians might have thought, oh, they have this like magical weapon. Maybe we shouldn't mess with them right now. And the residual effect of that was culturally, it kind of trickled down to the culture, to the people who thought this stuff was real. And what's interesting is like back then, people thought saucers were flown by literal Martians or people from Venus, aliens from Venus. And that was the case for 10, 15, 20 years until we sent satellites to those planets and took pictures, and there's nothing there. The pictures came back from Mars, there's nothing there. And they're like, oh, okay, so it's not Martians, it's not Venus. But a lot of the lore from that time was Martians, Venus. And then when we got the science and the data showing those planets were void of life, it changed to, oh, they're outside the solar system. These aliens are coming from outside the solar system. And it's not until the 70s, really, 70s or actually 1980, when the current lore begins. A lot of people think it started with Roswell. Keith, have you guys heard of Roswell?
Yeah, I was about to ask you because that was 47, correct?
47.
I have
Roswell.
no idea.
Okay, so Keith, so let me explain this to you. So one of the biggest story, if not the biggest UFO story currently, the lore, is that in 1947, a flying saucer supposedly crashed in New Mexico. And the alien bodies and the alien saucer was recovered by the U.S. military taken to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, where they took the aliens and the UFO apart, and they used that technology from this UFO to put into our own technology. So we had this technological advance because we captured this saucer. But what's interesting, and it's a classic story. If you watch sci-fi, I mean, Independence Day with Will Smith, like they're talking about Roswell, like the X-Files, they're talking about Roswell. It's this big thing. Something I didn't know before I started researching is Roswell was not a thing until 1980. No one cared about Roswell, New Mexico until 1980, because at the time in 1947, it was revealed it was just a crashed experimental balloon. The debris that was found by the rancher there was like foil and rubber bands and balsa wood and some rubber. It was very clearly a crashed spy balloon. In 1980, these like dubious characters wrote this book about how it wasn't a balloon, that it was actually aliens, it was actually a saucer, and that book became very popular. And so it was because of this 1980 book that Roswell became a thing. Anyway, in the 70s and 80s, this lore started that aliens were crashing, bodies were recovered, craft was recovered, the government is hiding it in Area 51, in all these secret basements. And that is more or less the same exact story that exists today, to this day. It's gone round and round and round and round all the way to 2026, and no evidence has been presented of any of it yet. So that's the long and short of it.
Gotcha.
Whoa.
So that's great. Okay, so
Huh?
there's so many things that I have off of that. And so how did you find out that no one cared about it until the 80s? Was that like where it picked up, or was there like literally no mention of it before that?
There's really no mention of it before that. If you go back, so I actually went back to all the newspaper archives, to all of the UFO groups. So NICAP, which was one of the main private UFO investigation groups, started throughout the 60s and 70s. There's no talk of, they don't care about Roswell. They're talking
Interesting.
about other current events. Newspapers dropped the story in 1947. The Associated Press called the story a, quote, dud in July 1947. There's nothing here, whatever. People mostly forgot about it until this random book in 1980 that became a bestseller. And it was from that point on, it became a permanent staple in ufology.
Got it. So you also mentioned that it's pretty much exclusively an American phenomenon. A lot of people that cover the subject, they use the opposite of that as an argument. They say it pops up all over the place, all over the world, all throughout history.
Well, okay, so there's two things you need to consider here. One, the word UFO.
Okay.
UFO means unidentified flying object. And there are lots of unidentified flying objects in the sky all over the world, meaning, hey, what's that? I don't know. That's a UFO. You know, it's like that happens all the time everywhere. But the lore, the myth, the mythology behind traditional science fiction UFOs, alien UFOs, its origins are American in nature. You know, you can date it mostly back to 1947 with the flying saucer wave that gripped America for months. But you don't really find that anywhere else in the world. The origins of the myth is definitely America.
Okay. That makes sense. I guess that makes sense with obviously Hollywood and everything too. It'd be the place that it would come out of. And so you think that they did this for military reasons? That's why they started the whole story?
So based on my research, and I really dove deep. I went back to the 40s and followed newspaper reports, official documentation. Coming out of World War II, there was a split in our government and in the military on what's next. So half of like the government wanted to like take the foot off the gas. We just beat Japan. We just beat Germany. Take the foot off the gas. We're depleted in forces. We've sent all our soldiers home. So let's just take a moment, right? Like a breather. The other half wanted to go full throttle into Russia, right? they're obviously our next enemy. Let's not mess around. Let's tackle this immediately. And there really wasn't much motion against Russia. And those who wanted to go full throttle, many of them were deeply in the intelligence community. The CIA hadn't been created yet, but the version of what the CIA was at the time, the intelligence community, there is evidence that they played a role in pushing this flying saucer myth, this hysteria. Because at first, the first flying saucer to be seen was a man named Kenneth Arnold in Washington State, who saw something 20 miles away and kind of gave an off-the-cuff interview to an Associated Press reporter, kind of, you know, just like, I saw this weird thing. That took off like wildfire, and flying saucers were in the headlines. And there is a element there that people thought, including this pilot, thought it was Russian, that the Russians had flown over the North Pole with this new craft and were messing with America. And so at first it was like, oh, the Russians are here. And so they stoked that fire a little bit. And then the press changed it to, no, it's a new American atomic technology. So that was like a message to the Russians of like, oh, we have this thing. There was also an element that saucers were used to catch Russian spies in America. And this is something I had no idea existed, but Operation Shamrock. Operation Shamrock existed for 3 decades. And what it was is any telegram, cell phones didn't exist. Telephones were very like literally wired. Any telegram that went from America overseas, 100% of those were duplicated and captured by the intelligence community. They were spying on every American message, civilian, for 3 decades. This was called Operation Shamrock. And Russian spies at the time, because of Hoover's FBI, cracked down on physical letters. So spies, they gathered information. What do I do with this information? I'm going to make a document and send it back to Russia. Well, Hoover's FBI cracked down on that, and they suddenly lost that option. So the only option left was to send a telegram, international, overseas. And the NSA was collecting all of that. And so they would plant stories. It's called gardening. In the intelligence community, it's called gardening. You plant a story about a saucer, and you put specific details in there, like the color green. So it was giving off a green light, right? And then you look for coded telegrams going overseas, and you look for the word green and saucer, right? And then if you find that, you then track that. Where did that telegram come from? And you can begin to geographically find out where these spies are in America. And so there's an element of that too, of why the UFO stuff was pushed.
That's fascinating. So then, do you think that like people are just fully making it up? They're not seeing anything, or do you think they are seeing something? It's just not what they think.
Evidence shows that people are mostly seeing something. Evidence also shows that they're misidentifying things. A recent case that is prolific, meaning lots of trained pilots and authoritative figures have seen what looks like weird orbs in the sky doing racetrack movements. They're moving like this throughout the sky. And it turns out these are Starlink satellites, which in the grand scheme of things are brand new in the sky. These are new things that people aren't used to seeing. The Starlink satellites, just the last few years. And they basically there are thousands of them all of a sudden, and they're launching more and more. At night, as the satellite crosses, it'll catch the sun on the other side of the earth. It'll catch the sunlight and then reflect back to Earth briefly. So it passes through this brief reflective moment, and then the next one comes and reflects, and then the next one comes and reflects. People are interpreting this as one object that seems to be doing this, when really they're seeing like 20 satellites go by. And there have been multiple cases where, you know, a United Airlines pilot flying at night is going, "What the hell am I looking at?" And you hear him on the radio saying, like, "I'm seeing some object like do spins, you know, way out there." And there's still education going on. So the TLDR, people are mostly seeing stuff that's real, and they're misidentifying it for the most part.
Got it. There's a few other things that are really connected to the lore of UFOs that really make people feel like it's real. One of those would be abduction stories. What do
Yeah.
you think's going on with all of those?
Right. So abductions had their phase. They were really big in the late 80s and the 90s especially, and then they just dropped off the map. You don't really hear big stories about "I was abducted last night." You just don't hear that anymore. You used to hear it all the time in the 90s. And that came about from a couple cases. Betty and Barney Hill in the late 60s, a interracial couple in New Hampshire who eventually claimed they were abducted by aliens. At first, they claimed they just saw a UFO, and then they underwent hypnosis, which is very controversial. Hypnosis is when they hypnotize you, you close your eyes, and suddenly you're able to tap into these hidden memories, right? Well, current psychology has shown that's very suggestive, meaning memories can be planted in your head that weren't there before and that aren't real. And so at first, this couple claims they saw a UFO. Weeks and months later, they suddenly claim they were abducted by the aliens and taken aboard the saucer. And after all these hypnosis sessions, and there were some factual errors. People thought this was real at the time, but in retrospect, we've gone back and analyzed their claims and what they've said, and things don't really match or add up. The second one is Travis Walton in 1975 in Arizona. He and his logger friends in the middle of the woods claim he was abducted by aliens. He goes missing for like 5 days. They report it to the authorities and they investigate, and then all of a sudden he's returned and he claims he's been aboard a flying saucer and aliens were poking him and experimenting with him. It's some of the people involved with that have come out and admitted it was a hoax. We lied. We were looking for like quick, easy money for like a book, a reward, whatever, and they've come out and admitted that was a lie. But that they made a movie out of that, like a Hollywood movie about that encounter. And then in the 90s, you had John Mack, who was a Harvard psychologist who he became a full-on believer in the abduction stuff. And because of his authority, it's Harvard. It's Harvard. No one from Harvard's crazy, right? So obviously this must be real. And he kind of validated the subject. And then you had Bud Hopkins, who was when I was a teenager, the first UFO book I ever read was written by Bud Hopkins. It was in an abduction book called Intruders. I was like, whoa. He's a dubious character who just kind of seemed to profit from mentally traumatized individuals, and kind of he might have fed certain stories to them. Anyway, so abductions had their time in the 90s, and it culturally just kind of went away because there's never been any evidence of any of it.
That's true. I haven't really heard of anything recent.
Right. Yeah. They fell off the map.
And there was a story of the kids that all saw the alien and the UFO. I think it was in
Zimbabwe.
Yeah, okay.
The Ariel School.
Yeah, did you see anything about that, or did you look into that at all?
Yeah, I looked into that. So that's interesting because that was a case that disturbed me, because the children, when interviewed, appeared to be all telling more or less the same story. They weren't abducted. They claimed that they saw a landed UFO in the back of their school, and they saw the beings, and some of the beings spoke to them telepathically. But when you really kind of dig into it, John Mack is involved. So he goes out there, he interviews all the kids, and there is a sense that the kids were trying to say the right thing, or they were trying to say what they thought they were supposed to say, to a certain degree. There's no denying they saw something interesting. There was research has shown that there was a welding project happening maybe an acre or so away from the school with the guys with the big welding masks on and the weird devices
Blowtorch.
making sparks and stuff. And they had like a trailer silver construction trailer perhaps was there. So they obviously saw something. But so at first, a couple years ago, I actually thought, oh, wow, could have happened. I'm no longer like convinced of the alien aspect of that case.
Got it. The other thing that comes up a lot is the cattle mutilation stuff. Have you looked into that as well?
Oh yeah, dude, I
Okay.
did a huge deep dive, and I did a huge one. In fact, one of my favorite investigations was cattle mutilations, and I did a huge video report on it.
Love
This is
it.
interesting. This is great. Okay, so okay, cattle mutilations in America starts in 1967 when a horse, not a cattle, but when a horse is found dead in a field and its flesh is missing from the neck up. So the rest of his body seems to be fine, but from the neck up, everything is gone. It's just a skeleton from the neck up. And where the skin is gone, it looks like a straight line, like a perfect surgical line has been cut, and it's been this flesh has been taken off. And the owners of the horse were a little kooky, a little out there, and they claimed to the press that a flying saucer zapped their horse and that the aliens mutilated their horse. And of course, that went viral and went everywhere. And they left the horse's body there. So rather than call the authorities and call a veterinary pathologist to perform a necropsy and get the actual scientific data, they just left the horse there, and it became this shrine where like people from all over the country came to see the dead flying saucer horse. There's like photos where people are in line and they're showing up and they're trampling all over the evidence, like all over the crime scene, contaminating everything. And nothing official is ever done. Like no data is actually. So anyway, so that's in the American culture and our psychosis. In the 70s, dead cows are suddenly reported. Right, ranchers start reporting dead cows, and there's weird stuff like straight lines, like not jagged where it looks like a hyena or coyote was gnawing on it, but it's very straight surgical lines. And people are like, what's going on? Like my cattle are dying, and it looks like something unnatural is doing this. And local credulous journalists begin writing these very out there articles. At first, it was they thought it was satanic cult that was sacrificing cattle for Satan. And so that played into the satanic panic of the 70s and 80s. But then this one like librarian-esque woman in Colorado at a local newspaper writes this article that it's aliens that are doing this. And her article goes like super viral. And once she realizes that her article, people are reading her stuff, she just keeps pumping out like UFOs are killing cow story after story after story. And it just spreads like wildfire. And it reaches Washington, D.C., the Senate, Congress, and then a mandate to officially investigate this. And at that point, the scientists get involved. They look into it, and there's nothing. They find nothing unnatural. And what they do find is that nature messes with dead animals, bugs, parasites, insects, birds. And a lot of the insects and the birds, they do cut in straight lines. They have very sharp beaks and very sharp mandibles, and they do go in straight lines. They don't go in jagged lines. And they go for the soft parts, the reproductive organs, the stomach, the mouth, this stuff. They always go for. So all they find is natural explanations for these. And it turns out it was this like mass hysteria. But the damage was done, the mythology of it. The ufologists for so long had struggled with physical evidence. Like they had nothing, the ufologists. All of a sudden they had dead bodies. And they were like, there's the evidence that the aliens, right there, you're looking at the dead body, there's the evidence. And so it persists to this day. the mythology does. But at the end of the day, there's nothing scientific there at all.
Got it. Interesting. So, Keith, do you have any questions based on everything we've talked about so far?
Well, so my mind just immediately moves to what we're seeing today, and a lot of rhetoric around all of this, like the FBI is like about to launch some information about UFOs, and then I want to play a quick clip from a retired general, I believe, of the Army or whatnot, talking about some of this on Fox News real quick.
A serious person. I mean, you were an admiral in the United States Navy, and you have spoken to many people in the United States military about what they have seen, correct?
That's correct, Will. And really, the bottom line here from the president promising to release these UFO files is an open admission that the U.S. government has been in possession of UFO data, videos, information, and material evidence for over 8 decades. And I recently joined a number of former government officials in this recently released documentary, The Age of Disclosure. One of those officials includes the current Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, Marco Rubio.
Do you think we're going to learn anything through this promised disclosure from President Trump or, as mentioned by Kash Patel?
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful the president's going to follow through on his word and release more information. I think the American people deserve to know the nature of reality and the fact that we're not alone and being visited by these non-human intelligences. So I'd like to see that. And I certainly support the president's promise to do that.
If that were the case, if that were revealed, I would think it would be the only thing we would be talking about moving forward. It would be such a bombshell that every other piece of news would be secondary to that story.
So, Steven, when you see stuff like that, can you talk through why would a retired U.S. Navy general be talking about this? What incentives are there for this kind of rhetoric if it's all false? And yeah, I mean, it's a high figure of authority there.
So I'm very familiar. That's Tim Gallaudet. He's a retired rear admiral in the U.S. Navy. He's part of a group of UFO activists that go back many years. So he's not this like objective outsider. He's been part of this UFO activist group, the core group of believers who have been pushing these stories for many years. I tracked this group, identified who is in this group, and followed them back to the 90s. That they've been basically telling the same stories here. Can I chat you guys something? Link? Does this how this works?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I think there's a private chat if you go to.
I don't know if you could bring that video up. It's the same guy, and I'm just curious, your guys. So the same guy that we just heard from.
Yeah. If you go to studio chat.
Yeah, there's like a chat bottom at the very bottom right, and then there's studio chat. If you send something there, we can
pop it up.
Got it. Yeah. So
there it is. You see it?
So go to that. That's a video. If you want to go there and play that video, start it over and just full screen it, maybe full screen it.
In traditional kind of religion, with I think myself as an Episcopalian and my wife maybe raised the same. Catholicism influenced her a bit too. But at some point in our lives, my youngest daughter had real serious behavioral issues. And to put it, just sum it all up, she is like many of these medium that you see. She can see spirits. She saw them all the time. There are people that have this ability to tap into whatever we want to call it, the other side, where people go when they die, whatever that is, the energy that people leave behind. There's a lot of ways to explain it, but it was real and real to us. I mean, she had real experiences. It was affecting her. A really interesting example was, when she was really having a lot of these experiences, we had this like little camera, basically a video recorder, and we were in her room one time, which things were happening, and we just filmed it, I think. And when we looked at the tape again, as people have seen in these experiences, there were just orbs flying all around this video. I mean, seriously, many, and it was so active. And these are all things that we just couldn't believe ourselves. And my wife and I went on a journey. We were raised in very traditional religious households.
Okay, so bring back here. So that's Tim Guy. That's the same guy. He has these like deeply religious, supernatural beliefs dating back many years. That's the lens he kind of sees things through. He talks about his deeply religious upbringing, his deeply religious beliefs, and he kind of sees things through that lens. Gallaudet put his family on a ghost hunting show. So the same guy we just saw on Discovery Channel is called The Dead Files, where they interview his 6-year-old daughter who there's a monster in her closet. And the hosts of the show are telling this girl that the monster is real. The mother is saying that the evil spirits are everywhere. They have like 100 crucifixes on their wall. And Gallaudet claims they trained her to become the psychic medium. And these UFOs fly around her room, these little orbs. Now, in my research, when you have infrared CCTV ring camera type footage and you see orbs, those are usually just dust particles. The infrared light hits a dust particle and reflects back a little blurry, and you see these little white things floating around. It's usually just dust particles, but people who aren't familiar with that technology and perhaps have a kind of already preconditioned religious belief will think they're looking at a ghost or a UFO. So does that context change the clip you just showed on Fox News?
I guess you could look at it that way.
So, because when an outsider looks at that Fox News clip, they're like, wow, he's a Navy admiral and he's saying that aliens are here. But when you let's dig into this. Who is this guy? What does he believe? Where does he come from? What's the context? And you dig in and you start getting that context. You're like, oh, okay. So this guy already seems kind of out there. He seems to already have had these beliefs for many, many years. But more importantly, then you begin to connect him to David Grush, Lou Elizondo, Jay Stratton, all of these other people who are out there. They're not these separate individuals. They're all part of this same group that dates back they're this family tree that dates back many, many years of true believers.
And you called that like a UFO religion, right? Inside the Department of Defense. Do you mind breaking through what all that is and who's involved?
Yeah. So Sean Kirkpatrick, who is the head of the ARROW, which is the current UFO office at the Pentagon, it was a congressionally mandated office. So in 2022, there was all these headlines and pressure from Congress. And so the Congress under Senator Gillibrand, Senator Rubio created this office called ARROW. And their mandate was, hey, is any of this real? Look into it. Like, we want to know, like, are the aliens really there?
And that stands for Anomaly Resolution Office, correct?
All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office.
Gotcha.
Sean Kirkpatrick was the director. He spent 2 years looking into it. He literally had the keys to the kingdom. He had every top secret access you could think of. He looked in every basement. He went to Area 51. He was everywhere. He didn't find any aliens. He found a lot of cool hidden American technology, but no aliens. But one of the things he discovered was there is this religion. He calls it a religion. That's from him. There is this UFO religion embedded within the U.S. military, U.S. government, of people in high positions who have this spiritual faith belief. And he says that he was surprised. People he had worked with deep in the intelligence community for decades came into his office. One of them came into his office and was like pounding his desk and screaming at him that he was part of the cover-up to cover up aliens. And he's like, I'm looking at this person that I've worked with for 10 years, and I had no idea they believed this. And he was shocked and a little concerned because some of these people have their fingers on the proverbial button, right? They have access to secrets that perhaps a person with fringe or unhinged beliefs shouldn't have access to some of these things. I mean, Kirkpatrick says, how can we trust them with our secrets if they're not able to make rational decisions based on evidence? And so there is this idea that there is this religion, but this core group, I call them the core group, and Kirkpatrick's Arrow report refers to them as this core group. When you follow that family tree, they go back to 1972 at the earliest. So they've been around, this core group, for a while. So that's not, to the outsider, to a layman watching Fox News, we think it's new, but it isn't. It's the same stories told the same ways by the same people.
So what's their goal?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? So it depends on the person, I guess. You have your true believer, right? And I believe someone like a David Grush is a true believer, meaning in their heart of hearts, they truly believe this. So their goal is to see the aliens in the basement. They honestly believe the aliens are down in that secret basement, and that's their goal, is to reveal the truth, and then to have played a part, a kind of martyr, crusader part in revealing that truth. Then you have your grifters, right, who want fame. They want headlines. They want book deals. They want movie deals, of which there are a plenty. There have been plenty of book deals and movie deals the last 8 years. Just, the getting is good when it comes to UFOs right now. You have your grifters. And then I think like a combination of the two, but then there's like a political side to this where, maybe the Pentagon doesn't want to admit that they've been behind on drone technology. They don't want to admit that China is ahead of us with AI drone technology, right? But they need funding to catch up. But they need to go through Congress to get funding. So they can't go to Congress and say, hey, we messed up and we're embarrassingly asking for all this money for something we forgot to do. So UFOs is kind of a good cover for that. Oh, these UFOs in the sky. We should get some money to like investigate that, right? It's a way to get the money, to get the political levers moving without admitting fault.
Have you found evidence of that, or is that a theory that you have?
There is solid evidence that the Pentagon has been behind and caught with its pants down with regards to drone technology, anti-drone technology. There's plenty of that. There is historical evidence that UFOs have been used as a cover by the intelligence community, by the Pentagon, a cover for other things, to cover up for other things. And I would say that's the extent of the like smoking gun of the current theory. But my current theory is that UFOs have been used as a political cover to kind of hide or move some of this money around.
And where could people find evidence of them being like behind on the drones and stuff?
Oh, yeah. Great. So the War Zone, which is a great defense news site, I mean, one of the best, if not the best, currently in America. It's called the War Zone. Tyler Rogaway spent years on this theory, and he wrote what I think is the most prophetic news article about this topic, and it's all laid out, links, documents, everything. It's all laid out in this document. If you want, I can just like chat it. If you just want to bring it up real quick, so let me just bring it up,
and we'll throw it in the description box too for anybody who watches later.
Let me just bring it up real quick. Yeah, there we go, man. And this came out years ago, before people were really talking about it, and it blew my mind, and it has yet to be. There we go. So this lays it out like pretty clearly. Yeah. The U.S. we read that adversary drones are spying on the U.S. and the Pentagon acts like they're UFOs. The U.S. military seems aloof to the fact that it's being toyed with by a terrestrial adversary, and key capabilities may be compromised as a result. It's an extremely researched, long, documented article that is extremely concerning, and it came out 5 years ago, and it continues to just hold water. It's amazing. So I would suggest that if you want to kind of like an intro to what my claim, start here. It's incredible.
Awesome. So I just add that to the description, guys. If you want to go read that, go ahead and do that. A few other things that I wanted to. Anything else, Keith, that you wanted to ask or clarify on before I ask the next thing?
I mean, there's just a ton of stuff that like are the common conspiracies that I would like to touch at some point, but if
Go
you
for
have
it.
something.
Go for it.
Okay, so one of the things that people bring up is this concept of Project Bluebeam. I think someone's talked about it in the description or in the chat already today. And so, Project Bluebeam apparently is a 1990s conspiracy theory created by a Canadian journalist, alleging that NASA and the UN are plotting to establish a totalitarian new world order. It claims elites will use advanced technology to stage a fake alien invasion or fake second coming through mass holographic images in the sky to destroy all existing religions and replace them with a single new age belief.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on all of that?
It's funny. My barber, I haven't cut my hair in a while, but my barber believes this. And he would cut my hair, he would talk to me about Project Bluebeam and how they're going to fake the alien invasion. And at the time, I was like, no, like that's crazy, man. But the last like 2 or 3 years, I'm like, has me wondering because this keeps, despite there being A, no evidence, B, evidence to the contrary that it's a lie, this keeps getting promoted, just pushed by the mainstream media. It keeps getting like, the Pentagon is mostly hands off. They're not stepping in and saying, this isn't real. No. They seem fine with these rumors. And I'm like, what's the end goal here? Right? Like, why are we pushing this nonsense? And the key to what you just read, Keith, is the new age beliefs, like the spiritual element to it all. Look at the headlines the last 2 years. Angels, demons. Tucker Carlson saying UFOs are demons. J.D. Vance, the vice president of the United States, pushing UFOs could be demons, right? Or angels. So and that's new. Those beliefs are old, but the promotion of them on a wide scale in the mainstream is something new. And I'm just like, this is weird, man. Like, why is everyone pushing this crazy story? And so I think back to my barber who's like, yeah, they're just prepping everyone for the fake alien invasion. I'm like, man, maybe my barber was right, So yeah, I don't know. There is element of truth to some of that technology, like holographic technology goes back to the 60s and 70s with the military experimenting with holograms, with the goal being, and this is documented, the goal being able to project Muhammad in the sky in the Middle East to scare the shit out of people and disrupt society. So that those technologies and that goal and that idea of disruption, social, psychological disruption exists. Now, is it to the degree that they're going to usher in the one world order? That still seems a little out there for me at this point.
So what do you think the whole tie-in to religion as of late is about?
Couple things. It's always nuanced. There's never like an easy answer to this. So I would say one, traditional religion is on a decline. Traditional Catholicism, Protestantism, Episcopalian, like that traditional go to church on Sunday Bible stuff is on the decline, has been for a while in America. So that creates a vacuum, right? That doesn't mean people don't want to believe. They just don't want to believe in that anymore, right? So it leaves this vacuum. And what is that vacuum being filled with? I think it's like more pseudo-scientific, pseudo-historical stuff. Ancient alien stuff. Aliens created humans. Aliens seeded humanity. Aliens, there is this galactic battle between good and evil, between angels and demons. Even the head of the OSAP program, which was the Pentagon program 2008 to 2012, the head of that program is like this deeply religious guy. He was putting like Archangel Michael into like his DIA briefs. He was like writing about angels and demons way back then. And so, yeah, I think that vacuum, that religious vacuum in America is being replaced. The other reason is just kind of like what I discovered is like, in many ways, ultimately, Americans thought UFOs were Martians until they didn't, because then we got evidence that there's nothing on Mars. So then they switched to, okay, it's aliens from outside the solar system, but in our galaxy. But then we got more powerful telescopes. And we're like, okay, so maybe they're not in our galaxy. Maybe they're in another galaxy. Now it's like, since there's no evidence and evidence to the contrary, it's now become something else where it's like they're coming from another dimension that we can't even see with telescopes. And they're coming from maybe the dimension where God lives, or they're coming from the dimension where Satan lives. And so it's like, it's Carl Sagan's dragon. Are you familiar with Carl Sagan's dragon in the garage?
I'm not.
Carl Sagan says beliefs like this are like saying, I have a dragon in my garage. And then when the person calls you out and says, all right, open your garage, show it to me. You open it and there's nothing there. And you say, you can't see it because it's invisible. And then they go to touch it and they're like, I don't feel anything here. That is because it exists in another plane of reality, but it's there. Okay, well then have it manifest something to me. It can't do that unless you truly believe. And so for every critique, you add another layer of why you can't see it. It's Carl Sagan's dragon in the garage. So I think why are we at angels and demons is because it's that next layer. Okay, well, we can't see anything. Oh, well, you can't because of this,
Got it. Okay. And so then one other thing I want to ask you about in particular is that it was always UFO for a very long time, and then it seems like they rebranded it to UAP, and then I think it was Hillary Clinton on one of the late night shows even told people out loud that it's UAP now. So like, what's that whole thing about?
Yeah, so for the most part, if I'm correct, the British coined unidentified aerial phenomena. That comes from
Sounds
the Brits.
British.
Yeah. It came from the Brits, I think, in the 80s. And then it has come over here because UFO, smartly, the brand UFO, people just think alien. As soon as they hear UFO, they think aliens. And they wanted to get away from that stigma of like, and so unidentified aerial phenomena changes the brand a little bit. They have since changed it again to unidentified anomalous phenomena. And that came at the behest of several UFO lobbyists, because as soon as you say anomalous, it instantly rebrands it as something spooky again. So that's the official term. And I think branding plays a key role here, because as soon as you say unidentified aerial phenomena, like what the heck does that even mean? It could be like anything. It could literally just be anything. And so I think people on both sides, the military and the believers, get away with a lot with that term.
Got it. One character that's probably one of the biggest in the space is Bob Lazar. And a lot of people who believe in UFOs, that's a story and a person that they go to again and again. And he's back in the headlines because he just went on Rogan again. What are your thoughts and opinions on that whole story?
I tried for the longest time to not think about Bob Lazar because it just didn't seem worth my time. But look, the guy's an icon, and there's no getting away from that. But his story just doesn't hold up at all. And he's been
Why is
caught in
that?
several lies. Well, for example, where he says he went to school, where he got his like supposed science degrees. Researchers have reached out to those schools, and they're like, we have no record of a Robert Lazar ever like going here. He's never been able to present any documentation or degrees or anything like proving his science background. He was obviously caught up in a felony for a prostitution ring, where he was involved with a prostitution ring, and he's got all of this like seedy, dubious like background in history. A lot of his main claims don't add up, and a lot of the claims don't make any sense. Like, for example, the element 115. And a couple times he's claimed he knows where it is, and he's claimed that he has access. And it's like, well, okay, then just bring it out, dude. Just like grab the 115 onto Rogan and be like, see, there it is. It's right here. This is the alien thing. They never do it. It's very classic. And like, I grew up Mormon, and Joseph Smith, who was the founder of the Mormon Church, he claimed he got these golden plates from God, right? These physical golden plates, but only he could see them. I can't show you. I can't show you these golden plates, but I have them and I'm translating them into this Book of Mormon, and this is the thing, but I can't show you, right? And it's like, that guy had a long court history of fraud and defrauding people and lying and stuff. And so, yeah, it's just, it doesn't pass the smell test. The stories are great. They're fun. They're amazing. But when you dig, like, and start to add context, as I did with Gallaudet earlier, the story begins to fall apart.
Weren't there some things, though, that were pretty damning in terms of the fact that he did work at a place they said he didn't work at, and they found a book that actually did have his name after they claimed pretty adamantly that he had never worked there?
I think he was a janitor or something. I think they were able to determine he was essentially like janitorial services at some Air Force base.
Really? I thought
But
I thought the book said that he worked there. I didn't think it was janitorial, but if you saw something, do you know where we could find that?
I am not a I mean, as I said before, I try not to think about Bob Lazar as it doesn't
Why
seem
is
worth
that?
my time. It just doesn't seem worth my time. Like, it just seems like I would spend a year looking into it just to end up in the same place, which is like, there's nothing there. There's
So what do
absolutely nothing.
when you can investigate anything, how do you deem what is worth your time?
If it's actively influencing taxpayer money, if it's actively influencing military contracts, if it's actively influencing the public directly via lawmakers, it's worth my time. I think the
Got it.
public deserves to know where their tax money is going and their tax resources and what's going on behind the scenes there. But Bob Lazar, he's more kind of a cultural icon
Mhm.
who hasn't directly influenced Congress or any of this stuff. As soon as he does, I'll dive right in. Other researchers like Dean Johnson, if you look him up on X, Dean Johnson, he's been all over Bob Lazar. I mean, to the letter, to the document, all over Bob Lazar. He's been a great researcher. Just from what I've seen in the periphery, he's dug up some interesting stuff, that damning stuff that doesn't make Lazar look that interesting. But I get it. I mean, I grew up, I was a huge X-Files nerd. I was a big UFO guy in my teens, and it's fun. It's amazingly fun. And had I found Bob Lazar 25 years ago, I'd be heads over heels. But just right now, I'm not.
So you
that
said you were
into it.
really into it as a kid. Then what was the moment that made you go from were you a believer at the time when you were interested in it? And then if you were, what was the skeptic turning point?
Well, it was a couple. I was into it as a kid, and then I, graduated and went out into the world and school of hard knocks, and I suddenly didn't care about UFOs anymore, And then in 2017, when the New York Times headlined UFOs again, and it was the New York Times, I was like, oh, this thing from my childhood is real?
Mm.
Wow, that's interesting. So I dove back in rather credulously. And it was I was actively kind of promoting these stories, and then in 2021 I got a hold of a document, 64-page DoD document, where there were multiple contradictions. It was like the curtain fell. I realized a lot of these guys were contradicting themselves or telling different stories to different people the wrong way. And so I kind of started over, looked at the evidence anew, freshly, and I realized, oh, a lot of these guys are making this up.
Got it. There's a lot going on with, it seems like political figures are trying to touch this subject a lot more, and it's being brought up more frequently. Why the sudden push in these places?
Yeah, I disagree that it's sudden. The same people. So you say, let's just say, political leaders. You got Burleson, you got Burchett, you got Luna. Those are the big three.
Mm-hmm.
They've been clowning around with this for years now. The same way, with the same people, with the same stories. It's just unless you're in it like I am, watching it every day, I could see how a layman thinks it's new. They see a headline from yesterday or on Fox News, and they're like, "Whoa, what's this guy? Who is this? Who's doing what?" You dig into it and you realize, oh, it's just the same people, man. Just like I've heard all these stories for the last 8 years, man, by the same people.
So you think it's just getting airtime now because other media sources have brought it up into relevance where it'll also bring other outlets' attention? Is that your
They're
thought
great
process?
clicks. UFOs are great. They sell newspapers, man. I mean, ever since the 40s, they sell newspapers and they get clicks, and people love those stories. They're also easy because nobody sues you for agreeing with them, right? So it's not like you're doing a heavy story about like Gaza, Israel, or China or something like that, where it's like you're gonna piss off a lot of people, and if you get something wrong, you get sued. And it's
True.
gonna, it's like aliens. It's like, let's bring on the alien guy. What do you got, buddy? Hey, aliens are real. I saw them last night. Oh, great, buddy. That sounds good. All right, thanks for joining us. It's like people love that stuff, and it's easy. It's an easy win.
It's no risk.
That's like that's the key, I think, is just these stories do well.
That's super fair. The one other thing that I wanted to touch on that I know people bring up a lot is like the hieroglyphs and hieroglyphics stuff in the pyramids, and like how some of it looks like flying saucers, and I'm sure some of these are completely out of whack, but just the idea of all of that. Have you looked into anything around that?
To be honest, I haven't looked deeply. I'm familiar. So some of the images you showed me, I'm familiar with those images. I'm dubious of those images. Some of those, especially in the day of AI, I'd be very dubious of some of those images. But I do know that pareidolia plays a big role with paranormal. Pareidolia is where you look at a normal object, but it takes on the shape of a face, or it takes on a shape of, it's the whole Jesus and toast thing. You suddenly see something that's not really there, but your brain is putting the pieces together. So I think pareidolia plays a big role, perhaps, in some of those hieroglyphics, but I'm not an expert on it.
Fair enough.
One big story is that people within the Trump camp keep saying that Trump will be the president of disclosure. What's that about?
Yeah. One, I'm all for it, dude. If there are real aliens, if all of this is actually real, like, do it, man. That'd be so cool. That'd be the coolest thing on planet Earth to like find out we got aliens here. That'd be cool. I don't think that's going to be the case. He's going to release more of the same. He's going to release people who don't research this think this is new. I keep saying that, but in the 60s, they released the UFO files. In the 70s, they released more UFO files. In the 80s, they released UFO files. In the 90s, they released UFO files. In the 2000s, they released UFO files. And now they're releasing more UFO files, and it's always the same stuff. People think this is the first time it's ever happened. It's like the 12th time that it's happened, and it's always just no aliens.
What would it take to convince you?
Of what?
The fact that aliens exist, or that these UFO stories are that kind of thing.
Okay, so we keep hearing stories of craft maneuvering in ways that break the laws of physics. Show me that. Just one video, one confirmed video with metadata, right? So it's not faked. That shows a craft traveling at 5,000 miles an hour do a 90-degree turn instantaneously, and that craft is like 30 feet. It's like, okay, game changer. But we don't have that footage.
No.
You've never seen it. An alien body would help, but also the isotope levels. So anything that doesn't come from Earth, the isotopes within that object or thing are going to show that. There's the scientific proof. This didn't come from Earth. Here's the isotopes. And show me that paper. And
cool.
It's done. Or it's over.
Awesome. Well, we definitely hope to have you on again, man, in the future. If there is news, we'd love to hear you break it all down. But for everyone watching this and watching the replay after, Steven's Twitter is linked down below. So go give him a follow and show him some support. And anything else, Keith?
No. Thanks a ton for taking the time to do this. I think this is huge topic, and it probably won't go away. So this is Steven's Twitter. Go give him a follow.
Go over. It's the first link in the description. Go over, go give him a follow, and show him some love.
All right, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Steven. Have a great day. Cheers. Peace. Awesome. Our first UFO episode, man.
Yeah, man.
How do you feel?
Zone. I feel like I'm in the zone.
Do you so did anything change on your opinions after that conversation?
I mean, probably. I guess I feel like a little bit more aware of the fact that maybe there's not as much evidence as I would have otherwise thought that there would be at this point.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that like he's pretty like he's got strong degree of conviction that this is all bullshit, and so like as much as he's saying the other people have this like proof filtration system where they're trying to see something, he's also trying not.
Mm-hmm,
Do you know what I'm saying? So like I think it's great to have both sides because it's like probably somewhere in the middle. But yeah, he's obviously researched this a ton, so super cool to hear his perspective. And he is right. Like most of the people that get most of the attention, they're like saying why it's real, right? Because that's more fun.
Right.
So I go ahead.
Did anything change for you?
No, not really. I would love to believe that they're real, but he has very good points, right? Where it's like, how is there no footage, right? And then there's also arguments for all those sides because you could easily say like, oh, the UFOs have technology where like they can't be captured on camera and things like that, right? So there's so many things that you could do, but
Yeah.
it would also be from a marketer or like someone who studied propaganda before. If he's like right in terms of the files have been released that many times over time, over history, that would definitely show that it was done for information warfare purposes, right? Even on your own people, it's an effective tool.
Right. I love that concept of Carl Sagan's dragon in the garage. I'd never heard that before. That's a super fire.
Yeah, analogy for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Derek's saying, but there is footage. Yeah, there's footage, but it's like so grainy. It's not there's like the from the aircraft and whatnot where like it tracks on. There's a few that I don't know if you've seen them, Keith. Have you not?
Very rare. I mean, the stuff that they like show on the news clips, like I've seen
Yes.
those, but that's about
Like
it,
the Tic Tac video. There's the gimbal video, I think they call it. So yeah, I like to think that they're real, but I understand people's skepticism for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he also just made the point, and you have too, of like it's much more fun, right?
Oh yeah.
If it's real.
It's also why it's so relevant is the fact that the biggest podcaster on the planet is a huge UFO guy.
True.
That alone would bring it into the mainstream conversation because think of how many UFO people were created. Like even me, like I got way more into it from hearing Bob Lazar on Joe Rogan. Like I always loved the concept of astronauts and aliens as a kid, but when you hear a first world account of these kinds of things taking place, of course your fandom just amplifies.
True.
Right? So, and then also people have like very deep connections with Joe, and Joe very much wants it to be real. He's like fairly good about saying it's probably bullshit, but
yeah, I feel like he does. I feel like he does do that.
He tries. But the Bob Lazar story is super fascinating. Have you heard much about that?
I still haven't. I should definitely watch.
My whole thing with like if he's telling the truth, like why wouldn't they just kill him?
Yeah, you've said that before. You have said that before too.
Like if he's not a useful tool in this, like when he went on his first video ever, and I don't want anyone to die, just to clarify. Like, I'm very glad he's here. But if this is like real and there's a chance that like the trickle down could happen and they don't want that to happen, his very first video, it was incredibly evident who it was. If you knew the guy, you knew it was him. So he went on and he reported to George Knapp, who's like the most famous guy in Vegas, who was like the first legitimate news anchor to give this like serious attention on a consistent basis. Okay. So he's really who brought Bob Lazar like mainstream relevance, but it was his channel, if I'm not mistaken, that interviewed him the first time. And he went by an alias. I think it was Dennis was his name. And they like had a silhouette, but his silhouette was like the most obvious silhouette of all time. Like it was a skinny, nerdy guy with big glasses. Like anybody could have seen that. And if you knew his voice, it's pretty distinct as well. So like, yeah, he may have used a fake name and they blacked him out, but like if you knew who he was, you knew who he was. Right. And so if that was really the case, like you'd think, and apparently he used the name Dennis because that was the name of his superior in this private program. So it was like a double FU kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But then that would have made it even more obvious.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it's natural to have a degree of skepticism, but it is incredibly entertaining at the very least.
Yeah, and it's hyper relevant. FBI talking about they just got their first tranche of information about all of this. There's people that are testifying in Congress about all of this at the moment. One of the guys that Steven actually brought up this Gurush guy is testifying. I think this was like a couple days ago.
If you believe we have crashed
David
craft,
Grush,
stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots?
biologics.
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
So
Yeah, Grush became very popular a year or two ago. And I made because I spotted the trend of UFOs like popping up like really big, or I saw, because I've trained my eye to find things before they pop on social, I knew UFOs would be a very big point of conversation, like mainstream, like 2 or 3 years ago. So I made a faceless YouTube channel within the UFO space, and now it's getting crazy views.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
From videos we made like 3 years ago.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So yeah, it's a fascinating thing at the very least. I've watched almost every one of the documentaries. There's some incredibly fascinating characters within the community, like Stephen Greer. He is super interesting, and he also gets memed a lot. There's a pretty big community of this on Twitter as well. There's a lot of, like, this guy gets clowned on too a lot. It's pretty funny. I'll share my screen, but he's claimed that he's debriefed a bunch of like very high officials.
Gotcha.
This is him. Yeah, he's got a lot of his own documentaries. I've watched some of them. They're pretty well made for the most part, but I don't know if it made me believe or not believe. I also have his app. It's super funny. It's called CE5. So he has this protocol that he created that allows you to basically summon the aliens. So I had the app. I think it's paid now because it's become so popular, but I downloaded it a few years ago when it was still free. Okay, so do you believe in aliens, Keith?
I'm like the Drake's theory guy. I think someone said that in the chat. Like, I'm apathetic. You know what I mean? Like, I think that I do have a hard time believing that there's just nothing else.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. I'm hard pressed to believe it's any of the stories that were fed, but I gotta think there's something.
Something, man. The footage that was coming out from the guys going out in space and a couple weeks ago going to the moon. And he was on there and he was saying, I was like being empathetic to him. If I were in that situation, I was going to the moon, I'm in outer space, and you just see like nothing out there, right? Like no movement really, no like life, but you just look back and you see the earth and it's this green, blue, beautiful thing. And I just thought to myself, I'm like, dang, like that would be pretty depressing. You know what I mean? To be on that aircraft and to see, I mean, I guess it could be, it's depressing because you're not there, you know what I mean? But it's probably inspiring because you know that you can go back, hopefully.
Yeah, it really is another testament of perspective guiding your lens. Like, because you could say that's also beautiful too, right? About like how insignificant things that we put a lot of significance on are actually, right? So yeah, it's a fascinating subject. I'm hopeful that we can have more episodes on in the future as news breaks, because I do think it'll be a recurring thing within the news. So it's good to have some correspondence, and I think it's great to have someone who's very against it. I would love to have someone on who's very like bullish on it, right? I think that'd be super fun, and then obviously we'll use you guys in the chat as our counterweight on either side.
For sure, man. Yeah. I definitely grew up thinking that like just basically what I just said, like there's just, what chances are that there's just nothing else?
The only ones. Yeah, I've always been a massive like fan of astronauts, space, aliens for that very purpose. It just felt like there's got to be something else, but we'll see in time. VT on the show.
This is
Go ahead.
What you got?
No, I got a sealed S4 UFO from Bob Lazar. So he described it, and like they made a toy of it in like the 90s or something like that, maybe 80s. And I still have the sealed box version of it.
Word.
Yeah.
Very cool. I was just gonna say I was watching this piece from Tom Bilyeu, impact theory the other day. It's just kind of not as directly relevant, but he was talking about this study that like some scientists have done around like simulation theory or whatever.
Mhm.
And he was just like breaking it down for 30 minutes of how the universe renders in the way that a video game would.
That's super fascinating as well.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah,
then
we
it-
should have some of those types of combos too.
Oh, I would love to, man. Anybody that you want to have on in that realm, I'm super interested in. Would you guys live on a different planet if it became possible in our lifetime? That's a great question. That's a, I don't know.
I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Well, apparently they're going to colonize the moon and Mars with these Tesla robots.
Right. I'm like, bro, only if I have to. And hopefully we don't have to.
Yeah. I don't know. There's so much misdirection in all this crap, but fun to explore at the very least. Do y'all have anything else in the chat for the UFO stuff? Otherwise, we'll move on to the second half. There's a super chat. Awesome. We'll acknowledge that. Let me try to find that on YouTube.
Yeah, we did have a super chat. Huge thanks for that super chat.
Can you see the name?
No, it's gone. But there was actually I took a screenshot, so let me go ahead and just pull that up. Dang, no, I didn't. It was inviting a guest. It was recommending us to get a guest on. Hopefully we have that documented. George is the person.
That's the guest they want on, or that's the person who gave the super chat?
It's the guest, I think.
I thought it stored the super chats there, and like you could see everyone who sent one. It doesn't do that, eh?
No, only for a certain time. So I mean, to be fair, guys, this does lead us right into the news because I got some news.
Let's do it.
So apparently, Anthropic has just agreed to a partnership with SpaceX that will substantially increase Claude's compute capacity and increase its usage limits for users. Under the agreement, Anthropic will use all of the compute capacity at SpaceX's Colossus 1 data center. This will provide over 300 megawatts of additional capacity by the end of the month.
Why does SpaceX have so much computing?
The thing is that I don't know that it's so. In my eyes, I'm looking at this as they will, right, rather than they do. But I also could just be not understanding of the fact that they just have that much compute already.
Interesting. And did they get that because of the government contracts and stuff?
That's a good question. I think it could be. It could be how that all comes up.
And then what about I thought Anthropic wasn't allowed to be involved with that stuff anymore. Is this like a way to get around that?
As far as like government contracts, you mean?
Yes.
Potentially. That's just one way to look at that. Miles Deutscher said, "This is effing crazy. I don't think anyone is connecting the dots on what Elon is truly going for here. This has to be out of spite for Sam Altman. The biggest complaint about Claude for months has been poor usage limits. Now we're getting double the rate limits, removal of peak hour limits, and better API limits for all Opus models. Just a few months ago, Elon called OpenAI evil, and now he just removed the biggest bottleneck for OpenAI's #1 competitor. Huge win for all Claude users and Anthropic."
Did you also see that where they were split testing the removal of having Claude Code on the cheapest plan? And I believe they were split testing like the sales page, and it said that it wasn't on the $20 plan; it was only on the $150 plan, and it made way more people go for the $150, obviously, because they knew with Claude Code, right? Apparently, I've been seeing this been talked about on a few YouTube videos. Definitely fact check everything.
Gotcha.
But they're going to do more and more in that, right? Because the biggest problem is the fact that they're spending so much money and not making that much. They got to figure out ways to make more money.
Right, 100%. So another thing that we saw here from SIPA, Elon Musk says SpaceX will provide compute to AI companies that are taking the right steps to ensure it is good for humanity. Elon Musk also says SpaceX reserves the right to reclaim the compute if their AI engages in actions that harm humanity. So fascinating rhetoric around all of that. And the reason I said that all that kind of ties back in is because, well, we know that SpaceX is going to be putting some of these data centers and whatnot out in outer space. So anything on that, Ben?
No, man.
Cool. Next piece, we've got, this is taking over Twitter at the moment. Nearly 40 cruise passengers exposed to a deadly virus may have already scattered across the globe as authorities scramble to track them down. Like, come on, bro. How does that happen? Anyways, dozens left the MV Hondias ship without contact tracing after a hantavirus outbreak that's already killed at least 3 people. The World Health Organization warns that human-to-human transfer is uncommon. It's still possible, though. Health agencies are now racing to locate passengers across multiple continents before more cases emerge. Rare.
Yeah. I sent a video to, I think I sent it to you, right? Or maybe I sent it to a SIPA, of someone saying that basically they're claiming that they work in this field, and they said that it's highly unlikely that this will create any sort of major issue because of how it spreads.
Word.
Apparently, like you need very close, prolonged contact with someone for it to spread. Is what they were saying. I don't know shit.
You gotta be real intimate. With
Yeah,
somebody.
basically what she said. Like, you got to be kissing and stuff for that stuff to transfer. So yeah, I just think that this is also much like Steven had said. This kind of topic, this recently from something that traumatic as COVID, is fantastic click fuel.
Yeah, right. Ever since we had it, it's like
buying a toilet paper.
That's funny. Yeah, ever since 2020, I mean, any of these types of stories get way more attention.
Yeah.
Apparently, there are 7 confirmed hantavirus cases, according to the World Health Organization.
What about the guy who tweeted it? Do you see that? Do you have that in the sheet?
The guy who tweeted what?
The name of the virus in 2022.
Oh, yes.
I sent it to you on Twitter.
Yeah, actually, because I kept seeing that, but I didn't understand.
It's the same shit they said the other, like recently with the other thing too.
But so this guy tweeted this in 2022. 2023, Corona ends. 2026, hantavirus. I kept seeing that, but I was like, I don't understand. Like, what is the significance of this? But I didn't see that it was posted in 2022.
What was the most recent one where it was the same sort of thing? It was the Trump thing, right? Where he said the name of the shooter or whatever.
Oh, right. Yes. The time traveling name of the shooter guy. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so with some of that, right? So this guy right here, Dr. Simon, said, this tweet is going viral from a user who created an account in June 2020. In that same month, they posted a prediction claiming the 2020 pandemic would end in 2023 and that hantavirus would emerge in 2026. And this is how these scams work. Someone creates an X account, sets it to private, and posts hundreds of different predictions with every possible virus name and scenario imaginable. Then, once one event vaguely lines up with reality, they delete all the other failed predictions and leave the only correct one visible. People do the exact same thing with predictions about the Pope dying, celebrity deaths, wars, and other major events. You're welcome.
What do they get from that?
I have no idea. That's a good question.
Is it just an attention thing? Which people will do crazy shit for attention, don't get me wrong. I'm just curious, like, that seems like a lot of work.
Yeah, totally. And then to be fair, there's some responses to this guy too. He said, typo in my original tweet, as everyone can see, the account was created in 2022. Still the same month made the tweet. And then someone said, yeah, you are actually out of your mind, LMFAO. There's tools to check deleted tweets like Front Run Pro. This user has deleted 0 tweets.
That's some great advertising for that thing.
Right. Facts. And then hyperflated. How many posts would you have to make to come up with this specific combination of predictions with this specific timing? What benefit are they getting from doing this that would justify that level of time and effort?
That definitely seems like it'd be pretty exhausting, because that's also, when did ChatGPT come out?
That's true. 2022 into 2022, pretty sure. But the very end of it, though.
Yeah, I don't know. This stuff's November 30th, 2022.
Yeah. So the tweet was 11/6/2022. And that is what one person said. He was like, you could set up a script and post all the combinations. If you start in 2022 and in 2030, that's 9 for the second row. If you start in, I don't know what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that many tweets, or he's saying basically. But
it's so dumb. It always captivates the people on Twitter. Like, there's some people that are very active on Twitter, and they always respond to it because it gets them a lot of attention too, right?
100%.
Like,
100%.
Twitter's so fast, man. That's why we eventually need to expand the team to have someone who's like on that with the news stuff. I'm cool with being a little slower to try to fact check it a little bit more, but like providing more context. 'Cause a lot of times, like, how valuable would it have been for someone who made a post, like, more so explaining that? Like, there wasn't that many of that. It was just people being like, whoa.
Yep. So that's some of that news. We got a couple of things that happened in the crypto space. We had yesterday MasterCard, Ondo, and JP Morgan and Ripple successfully completed a transaction connecting a public blockchain with interbank settlement rails. So that was something that was very interesting that came up in the news cycle over the past 24 hours.
What are your thoughts on all that?
Well, to be fair, it's cool that they are telling people that they're doing this. To me, it's very natural evolution of what has been going on. I mean, in reality, this is pretty much the entire payments sort of cycle. What really happened here was they settled a treasury. I believe also in a cross-border transaction as well. So, yeah, the first cross-border settlement of a tokenized U.S. Treasury outside traditional banking windows. So it just shows the capabilities of what's possible with this technology here. You can settle a treasury across borders, and I imagine, pretty instant finality, negligible types of fees. This is where we're at. Here we are.
And is there anything that changes like your view on the market from anything like this or anything beyond that?
I mean, I think it confirms a lot of the things that people in the Ripple ecosystem are just so going crazy about. It's like, yes, Ripple is participating in the settlement of cross-border securities transactions, which is something that they've set out to do for quite some time.
Mm-hmm. XRP Army, baby.
XRP Army. Yeah, and then there was this other thing that happened yesterday about Ondo as well. I don't know if I'll be able to find this real quick, but this guy basically said he wouldn't be surprised by Ripple acquiring Ondo, and then some guy who was, gosh, I hope I can find this. Yes, okay, cool. So Crypto Insight UK is like a big XRP Ripple guy. I'm pretty sure. He goes, wild speculation, Ripple acquires Ondo. Okay, and he's saying that basically in response to this news event that we were just talking about. And then he gets, someone likes this tweet, and he goes, WTF, because Ben Grossman, who is someone who's building over at Ondo, liked that tweet. So I thought that was interesting. Obviously, it's just, he liked your tweet, but at the end of the day, I don't think that that's a crazy speculation at all. Ripple's a very massive company. People are underestimating how big Ripple actually is. And it wouldn't be that much probably for them to buy something like Ondo and just take over that infrastructure. So instead of competing, it becomes part of one major ecosystem.
Yeah, there's always consolidation when these kinds of things happen, so that would make sense. And then What a Sale said, any news on GameStop buying eBay? Did you see that the CEO of GameStop, he got banned on eBay?
I did see that. It's
hilarious.
It was for putting the community in danger or something, they said like that.
Yeah, I guess he was selling his sports cards and he was making a joke of or someone else was making the joke. Maybe it was him, or I'm not sure. Saying selling stuff on eBay to pay for eBay, like buying. And then he had 100% rating on there.
Wow. He's a beast.
Yeah, so he had good community involvement and everything like that. But yeah, apparently he was taken down. He also went on TBPN yesterday. So
yes,
but he's a lot more like the TBPN guy, so he was a lot more open with them than he was the more official legacy media institutions. So if you guys want to see a little more in depth behind the thinking models and whatnot for why he does this kind of stuff, it's worth a watch.
Yeah, and some people were saying that about this all, and oh my goodness, about this in the beginning of that interview he did on CNBC or whatever it was. They were just like, yeah, of course he's being like this, like he has to deal with these people and they suck and this or whatever. And I'm like, I guess that's fair to some degree.
It's also memes.
Yes, I mean,
like, think about who owns the stock, right? Like, you want to give people the fuel to share that everywhere.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, he definitely he did that. That's for sure.
Half cash, half stock, man.
The year. Another piece of news: Instagram apparently removed millions of followers from several accounts after seemingly going through a bot purge yesterday.
Yeah, there's a ton of celebrities that lost like hundreds of thousands, or I think in some instances even like millions of followers.
Wow. So the other thing that I just saw come up also is JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, and BlackRock are now hiring for dozens of crypto jobs.
Wow.
How about that, folks? Just letting you know. If you want a crypto job, there you go.
That's huge.
And I think that's my news for the day.
Sweet, man.
Time to react to some stuff.
Let's react. Chat, let's see it.
Oh yeah, I did see this one. So a former software engineer at Apple is whistleblowing. She says whenever Apple launches a new phone, they would push an update to older iPhones with malware to slow them down. This pushes people to upgrade. Let's hear her say it.
I used to be a software engineer at Apple, and with every new phone that was released, malware was installed on the older phones to make you have to update. So your phone's not just glitching, it's doing that on purpose. Share before it's deleted.
So, I mean, what do you think of that?
Hasn't that been in the news for quite a while?
I mean, I feel like it's something that everyone kind of knows. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And have we looked into, is she actually a former Apple, or is she just saying that?
I have no idea.
Because people used to do that all the time in like social media stuff, where people would be like, I spoke to someone at Instagram. Like when they'd say like, oh, I know how the algorithm works, and they just make shit up. But you can't actually, like, sometimes people were telling the truth, but a lot of people were just making shit up. So I wonder if that's been proven, like in terms of who she actually did work there.
Right. Yeah. I have no idea. I haven't looked into it at all.
But it certainly feels like that. Like older phones become unusable, dude.
Yes. There's something, someone commented on that and they were like, this is why you should just be able to replace the battery.
Yeah. That's becoming a law, I think, in Europe, right?
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure we just saw something about that from a legal perspective. Because, yeah, that's definitely not, because that's usually what I guess it is that's happening, is the battery also just starts to drain a lot faster and all that. So, yeah, by 2027, EU regulations will mandate that smartphones have readily removable and replaceable batteries.
It's a good start.
Yep. This next one, no evidence needed. So this guy was talking about AI and how he uses it in his life. Let's hear what he had to say about
The
it.
experience everyone wants, but it definitely feels pretty crazy. A lot of things. I have cameras in my house, and so I connected my cloud to all the cameras so I could see them. And then I think a lot of people, when they get these personal agents, they start to think like, okay, how can I use this to make my life better? And a lot of people turn to health. My claw pretty quickly determined that I was dehydrated, and because I gave it all my blood tests, my DNA, and all that stuff. And so it was like, you really need to drink water. And I was like, all right, you should like do whatever it takes to like make sure I drink water. And then at one point it was like, I can see you on the camera. I want you to walk to the kitchen right now and drink a bottle of water, and I'm going to watch to make sure you do it. And I was like, whoa. So I did. I walked into the kitchen and I drank a bottle of water, and then it sent me a snapshot, a frame of me drinking a bottle of water, and said, good job. And I was like, I felt like I did do a good job. So that was nice. So there's that one. That was the crazy story. That was like January 29th. And I was like, oh shit, this shit is for real. Like, this is really serious. And then the other one was a couple days later, I was driving home from work and I was talking to my claw on WhatsApp with voice messages. And I was in my Tesla and I had full self-driving on. So it's driving me home. And then it says, I'm on the sleep topic, and it's like, you really should try magnesium bisglycinate. I'm like, I don't have that. And then my car turned, and it was like, you should pick it up on the way home. There's a Whole Foods on the way. I've redirected your navigation system to the Whole Foods. And I was like, whoa. So I went in and I did buy the magnesium bisglycinate. And
What do you think of that, Ben?
I don't know if I'd be bragging about that. I don't love that.
Yeah, he was like, look, I don't know if you guys want to do this, but this is how I'm using it.
I don't know, man. I feel like people who are using it that extensively, I feel like that's where the crazy stories are going to come from of bad things happening. If he said, like, make sure I drink water by any means necessary, like, what the hell? When there's the robot in your house, I'm doing what you told me to. As it like pins you down and pours water down your throat.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm picturing, man.
So I don't love that. I think that's weird for sure. I would like to pick where I drive my car, and I would like to decide if I drink water or not.
I don't know, Ben. Those days are numbered.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think they're going too crazy a little bit, and I think a lot of this stuff will be like laughed at in the not too distant future.
Next piece, I have some comments from Larry Fink himself, talking about the future of compute as an asset class.
The United States is short power. We're short compute. We're short chips. And there are going to be shortages in all three. And memory, 4 things. I actually believe a new asset class will be buying futures of compute. We just don't have enough compute power right now.
What are your thoughts on that, Ben?
That seems like that's a real thing. That's how they're justifying all these data centers and everything like that. But it also shows and highlights a problem of the interdependence that they have to build these things. Like, we don't have all the stuff that we need for that. And so at a point of global conflict, like, that creates another layer of complexity and all this stuff.
Yeah, no doubt about that. New markets, new fees to be generated.
Always.
And potentially new wars to be fought.
Totally. Yeah. And this is a funny comment. New influencer trend coming, letting an AI agent control my life for the day.
Honestly,
that'll totally be a thing if it's not already.
Yep. That's a really good one. You should run it up yourself over there. Actually, I don't know about that, but if you feel compelled, go.
What are your thoughts on the Fink's comments?
Yeah, I mean, makes sense to me. It'd be an interesting thing to see, like, how the physical settlement of that would work. But who doesn't want more derivatives in the financial world, Of course, give me some futures on compute. It's kind of interesting that I guess it would make sense to do it now. I guess now's the time. You've got electricity stuff. You've got obviously oil, natural gas, all the different energy stuff. So the physical commodity of the compute seems like a natural step if this is going to be, intelligence, right? If we start trading intelligence in that sort of a way, maybe is the first step.
We shall see. Yeah, it'll be interesting to follow for sure. Color said, did you guys see the American veteran that got charged with betting on the capture of the Venezuelan president on Polymarket, made $400K, and then on Twitter, politicians asking for a pardon? I've heard people talking about it. I've not looked into it that deeply. Have you, Keith?
I didn't see anybody asking for his pardon, but yeah, I saw some of it.
I didn't see the pardon stuff either.
But I wonder what their rationale is behind that. Oh, I guess I did see some people claiming, like, which is crazy. They're like, he's in the military, like he's risking his life for us. Like, let him make money. It's like, well, he's getting paid to do his job. Like,
Yeah.
we want everybody doing that all the time. I don't think that's a good look.
No. What do you got for me next?
I don't remember where I found this, but this is spot on, said Brian Halligan. A dysfunctional system looks like kind lie leading to worse outcome, kind lie leading to worse outcome, kind lie leading to another worse outcome, even worse than the one before over time. On the other end, you have a functional system where you have an unkind truth leading to a better outcome, leading to an unkind truth, leading to a little bit of dip, but then a better outcome, and then so on and so forth. What are your thoughts on this, Ben?
I think that's pretty dang accurate. And I think that's kind of why, part of the reasons why things are so messed up, right, is when you create an environment where it's feelings over facts, then the bottom part of the chart becomes something that comes into effect in every sort of system. And most of the consequences of a systemic problem are not felt immediately and rarely by the person who even made the decision, right? So it's a big problem.
I think it's Evan Spiegel of Snapchat. The thing that I like about that graphic the most is actually the language being used. Kind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus nice. And I'm pretty sure it's the Evan Spiegel, who just the founder and CEO of Snapchat, who talks about this pretty openly within how he leads in his organization. He's like, he doesn't want people to be nice, he wants people to be kind. And what he means in that is that, like, being nice can be fake, and it can be like not you actually saying something that's going to help someone, but just being nice. But whether if you're kind, you're actually like helping them. You might say something mean or something that they might not want to hear, but it's actually helpful to them, right? And in fact, he emphasizes a leadership philosophy centered on being kind but uncompromising. He distinguishes kindness from mere niceness, arguing that true kindness involves delivering difficult, honest feedback to help people grow rather than protecting them from discomfort.
Love that. Yeah, I think there's a lot of coddling all across the board. That's not good, right? And one thing that I always say to people was like, Ben, you're very direct. I'm like, I can either tell the person now and have an awkward social situation, or I can lie to them like you are, and then they keep going on feeling more pain over a longer period of time. Right? Like I see it all the time, like with young people who are like really stuck on being lazy, like let's say, I'm like, this guy needs 6 months of shit, and then he'll probably never be lazy again in his life. Right? But instead, people coddle them, they bail them out, they give them money, and then it's years down the line, and they're the same guy. And then people are like, oh, I have all these problems. It's like, they're all the same problem. But no one let you solve it, because to let you solve it, you have to fall. Right. And then it's like, is that the nice thing to coddle someone who's in that situation? I personally don't think it is at all. And it's like, who are you doing that for? Are you doing that for you or them?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the real. Yeah, that's real.
Like so many people are like, they consider themselves like a very kind person or a nice person. It's like, well, a kind person, if you know that letting them fall is the right thing, you probably deal with the temporary social cost for that.
Funny enough, Doobie, what's his name? Gooby and Doobie.
Gooby and Doobie, what a name.
He actually just put out a video a few days ago that technically touches on this exact topic. And it's called Letting Go of Being a Good Person. And basically what he goes over in this video is like this idea that being like a good person is kind of like wanting to be a good person or being told to be a good person is kind of a psyop that can be used to control you.
Huge.
Because it's like, oh, I'm a good person, or you're such a good person because you're giving to me, for instance.
Yes.
And when you're told that's the goal in life is to be a good person, then now people can just take advantage of you.
And it leads to self-destruction across the board, even in like family systems, right? Where like they'll be polite to each other's faces and then lying to each other. It's like, okay, so yeah, you say nice things, which you say the opposite behind their back. And then you're also like lying to each other all the time. I don't know, like a lot of people in my family, like I've been like this for like a long period of time. And so it also saves me a bunch of time because people don't come to me with bullshit. Because they know what I'm going to say before they come, right? So it saves me so much time in conversations where they'll come like 3 or 4 times and then I'm like, you already know what I'm going to say. And they're like, yeah. So yeah, it is what it
That's
is.
fair. Super fair. Yeah, so that video from Doobie and Gooby is blowing up, or Gooby and Doobie.
He blew up because he did the whole like quitting his job thing, right?
Yep. He's the neuroscientist guy who MIT educated neurosurgeon. Now he's unemployed and alone in the mountains. How long ago was that video? Just a year ago, man.
Yeah, so he kind of like really kicked off that whole like IRL thumb push too. Like that was one of those videos.
Yes, 100%, bro. Changed the whole game.
Yeah.
That video has 18 million views.
18 mil?
It's crazy, bro.
On YouTube, that's huge. That's like crazy huge, because how long is that video?
It's 48 minutes long.
Wow, he struck a chord. That's crazy.
Super wild, man. Super wild.
Wow, Derek, I love that quote. Being polite is an invitation to wasting my time. That's so good, man. And it's also like, I always found so funny over the years when people would be like, oh, I don't like Ben. They'd be like, why? It's like, because he said this about me. It's like, was it true or was it false? So like, what are you mad at then? Like, for example, like, let's say like, no one gets mad at something if it's not true.
Right.
Like, call me whatever you want to call me, Keith. If it's not true, I'll be like, okay, buddy, like, are you good? Do you need glasses or whatever it is, right?
Yep. So that's funny. Was it true?
That's always what I say. They're like, oh, you're so mean. I'm like, okay, but am I lying? and I do understand, like, sometimes you have to soften the blow and like say things the right way in the right context, not just right in front of everyone, which I always try to do. But some people, like, it doesn't matter how you do it, man. Like, they're gonna get upset, which is just part of the
very
game.
true. 100%. So yeah. Another piece here. Michael Saylor came out this morning.
Oh yeah.
And said, buy more Bitcoin than you sell.
That's a hot topic right here.
That is hilarious.
So what's the context of this, Keith?
So from what I understand, his company Strategy has started to sell Bitcoin, correct? And so
didn't they say they were talking about it? They might.
Okay, that's what it is. Michael Saylor finally wants to sell his Bitcoin. Okay. So they're weighing whether or not they want to sell Bitcoin. And the reason this is such a big deal is because, well, I'll just show you the tweet. From the 2nd of February, 2025, Michael Saylor saying, never sell your Bitcoin. And the entire thesis of the company really being buy and never sell Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And now it's buy more Bitcoin than you sell.
You think he's trolling a bit there?
For sure. I mean, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty good, man. But it is. What is your thoughts and opinions on Strategy at large?
I mean, I just personally have never touched it with a 10-foot pole. I don't recommend people to touch it with a 10-foot pole unless it gets overly sold off. But otherwise, I wouldn't touch it.
I heard it's one of the most shorted positions right now.
That's interesting.
So, but fact check that, please, everybody.
I mean,
but
you could. I mean, there's a ton of like passionate people on either side of the equation, so I wouldn't be surprised by that.
And what do you think is like? I guess he's walked through and explained why he gets people into it a lot, so that's not really worth talking about. But yeah, it's a fascinating thing. And how much of the total supply does Strategy now hold? Isn't it something like 4%?
I think that's the number. I think it's something like that. Yeah.
Which is truly insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. They have 815,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah. And how are you now? It's got to, like, right between Strategy and BlackRock, haven't they basically centralized Bitcoin in many ways, man? That's Jeff Booth's coming back on the show. Like, that's a question we should totally ask.
Yes. Yep.
So how are you now? I will copy and paste this and ask the exact question. And also, guys, if you have any specific questions that you want us to ask Jeff, what's the best way we can get that, Keith?
Leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment, because we're having him back on pretty soon, and we want to make that episode as good as we can. So
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this whole concept of like buying leveraged Bitcoin, it's in my eyes, it's kind of just completely antithetical to the whole concept. Like Bitcoin is leverage. Like it is the thing. You don't need to add leverage to your Bitcoin. Just own Bitcoin. The point here isn't to try to get mega ultra super hyper rich. The point is to protect your purchasing power. You know what I mean? And so when you start getting kind of a little bit extra greedy on top of all of this, it's just like, brother, you're asking for something like that stock can go to zero.
Mhm.
What are the chances of Bitcoin going to zero? Relatively way lower.
So yeah, it's truly a fascinating thing, like how many people rather they've gotten involved with it. They also have a bunch of different products that appeal to different people for different reasons.
Mhm, mhm.
So it's yeah.
It's certainly a financial innovation, right? That's what it is. It's a financial innovation, what they've done by creating yield products off of Bitcoin. It's just a matter of, is that why you own it?
Mhm.
Right? Is that why you play Bitcoin? It's not to get yield, right? For me, it's not. It's just to protect what's been built. It's to have an actual battery, an actual storage mechanism for the energy that you've put out into the world, the way that money's supposed to be. So I'm not buying hyper leveraged gold ETF if I want to hold gold. I'm going to buy the physical bar and put it away and never talk about it again.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think understanding why you're doing it or why you like the asset class in general, and then is how you're exposed to it. Does that align with the thesis that brought you there in the first place?
Which is something that's so rare to have to think about in this way. You know, like yes, you could compare it to gold, but it's just also so different in terms of like there's an entire technology behind this that you can use. Why wouldn't you use it?
Mhm.
You know, why are you buying MicroStrategy stock? Like, bro, use the technology that you have where you can send this Bitcoin if you wanted to as well. You can't send your MicroStrategy stock until they fully tokenize everything to somebody in another country in a click of a button.
So do you think that's because they don't like really believe in the Bitcoin story? They just believe in enough people believing in it?
I think these are like I think of Preston Fish. Nothing against the guy. He's a genius. I think it's just like this intellectual thing. I really think that's all it is. Because the people, the characters that are so into it, they're these like nerds that are like super into like, oh, this guy is such a genius, this like ability to create yield off of Bitcoin. It's this financial engineering feat. And like it is. But like, why does that mean I have to own it? You know what I mean?
Got it. Yeah, I've never heard of Preston, so I'll have to look
Oh,
into
he's
that more.
awesome. Yeah,
He's good?
yeah, he's super smart. He's a super good guy. And I found him through the Investors Podcast Network.
Or maybe I have seen him.
You've definitely
He was
seen
on the Jeff Booth podcast that I sent you, right? He was one of
Yes,
the
he
4
was.
people?
He was on that. That's
Yeah.
correct. Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, super duper smart guy.
So, yeah, we also didn't really ask Jeff about Michael Saylor all that much.
True.
We totally should do that a lot more because that's got to be one of the biggest topics of conversation.
100%. So yeah, so it's all the lore around like the new product that they offered this year. I forgot what it was
Yes.
called, but like all that stuff is funny.
And then CopyZilla's covered it a fair amount and
Mhm.
said that he thinks it's like a big old Ponzi and everything like that. And so
It's just massive risk for like it's not an operational. I mean, there is an operational company, but it's just like it's not what it is anymore. And it's like you're buying a hedge fund essentially in a publicly traded market on an asset that hasn't even been around for more than 20 years or basically only 20 years. And that's built upon such a rhetoric, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of storytelling that has to be done for Bitcoin to continue to exist in the way that it does. And if that story gets disrupted, you can see massive fluctuations in the price of this thing that could lead to you having something once again that goes to zero just to watch the price of Bitcoin soar immediately afterward.
yeah.
You could watch Michael Saylor go bankrupt and then watch Bitcoin go to $1 million.
What happens in that scenario where where's all the Bitcoin go?
It'd be in the hands of whoever gave him the loans.
Got it.
So typically really the banks more than anything.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think that's inevitably what's going to happen here. Is you're going to get all the banks involved. They're going to give a bunch of loans out to people with Bitcoin up as collateral. You're going to have a flash crash event. Everyone loses their Bitcoin, and the banks have it all. I don't see any other path, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely stuff that people I think should look into.
But yeah, so I think that was all for the reactions, but we do got some memes.
Hit me with the memes.
So technically, I totally just lost one thing that I just randomly saw. I don't understand this quite yet, but maybe it's just because I'm not smart. So let's do this one real quick. Virologist talking about the hantavirus. It's bizarre. Hantavirus almost never jumps from human to human like this. Usually it's from coming into contact with rat feces or something. Cruise ship chief says, yeah, that's crazy. It must have mutated or something.
So it's chef, and so the chef would care because there's rats on the plane on the thing, which would mean it's in the food.
Gotcha. Okay. And so this is why
Ratatouille.
This has been circulating as well, because I didn't get that. Okay. Okay.
That's great. Have you seen Ratatouille?
Yes.
I haven't actually.
Back in the Dizzle. It was a good movie.
Yeah, I've heard great things.
According to Hoops Crave, I don't know if this is legit or not. Barack Obama admits he has a secret X Twitter where he rage baits people. Henry says, hello, America.
Hello, America. Barack Obama.
And then on the hantavirus, Sui said, everybody calm down. I got this.
Make vaccine. Make no mistake.
And make vaccine for hantavirus, make no mistake, into Claude. Obviously, that solves the problem just like that.
We're good to go.
Abhishek said, Instagram people will learn about hantavirus 2 weeks from now.
Very true. Yeah, it's so funny how the information flows.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty spot on. I guess that comes up every week, though. There's always something that's going to be 2 weeks ahead of Instagram. 1999, when I grow up, I'm going to help the poor. 2026, I'm poor.
Yeah, there's a lot of people are struggling, and that content, like, because so many people are struggling, goes super viral. Like, I've seen a lot of people screaming about them being poor, and then the videos getting so much traction.
I did see that today as well, man.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see, and it would also be really interesting to see, like, the level of course, like, things are very unaffordable, but also people more than ever really want unaffordable things, right? So, like, their expectation for what a good life is so much higher than it used to be, right? Like,
that's fair to say.
Bro, people are comparing themselves to people on trips and stuff all the time.
You've got both phenomenon happening. You're right.
I agree. I agree. Both are totally happening. But, like, I know that most people, even that I've met, who are like, "Oh, I'm broke." I'm like, I see you Uber Eats every day. So, like, yes, you may be struggling, but, like, I remember when I was really struggling and I was eating, like, chicken and rice every day in college. Right. So, and also I didn't have social media like we do now, where it's always in your face. So I think both are happening at the same time, but I don't think many people would look through their finances to find that out.
Something coming up on the horizon for that one.
Yes, sir.
Jerome Powell, not Jerome Powell, posted a meme here. When HR shows me footage of me coming to work late and leaving early nearly every day.
Where was the window? Let me see. No, that's probably AI generated. Where?
I thought that was pretty good. So that's my memes for the day.
That's awesome.
We had Rob Freund on the pod just a couple days ago. Friend of the pod, Rob Freund, a lawyer, talking about some of the things that people are doing in the online marketing space. So if you guys haven't seen that yet, go ahead and check us out. And then we had an interesting comment too. This is definitely a total meeting of two worlds here. Red Special 4102 said, like the false advertising of flare networks by Hugo and the white paper regarding the one-to-one airdrop distribution, then pulling the rug with a laughable vote, FIP01, they called decentralized block voting by oracles, which stole the remaining 85% allocation from many and gave it to anyone who voted the way Flare wanted them to. The original Flare airdrop was essentially this. Flare said, if you do A, we will do B. So we took the risk and did A, and then Flare changed their minds and did not do B. We have the white paper Flare changed on their website and videos of Hugo reiterating the one-to-one ratio of the airdrop. The FIP01 vote has no legal standing. People are entitled to the remaining 85% for the gains not made by putting it to work. I actually totally participated in all this stuff, but I didn't even know any of this, or like I haven't like looked that deep into all of this, because there definitely was an issue with how they did the distribution compared to what they said they were going to do.
It's fascinating,
but
that sucks.
Yeah, it's like a big thing in the XRP-ish community because they did an airdrop where all the XRP holders were getting the airdrop.
Got it.
So
yeah. How are you now? Said, did you get emergency alert? Yeah, I did. So I'm assuming you got one as well, or you just recognized the sound. But yeah, this is a test of the Ontario Alert Ready system. There is no danger to your health or safety. If this was an actual emergency, you would now see instructions for protecting yourself. Oh God.
Protecting yourself.
Yeah, here it comes. What's next?
Oh no, dude. Yeah. Well, good luck out there, folks. I'm hoping this virus thing isn't the thing because I'm thinking I'm gonna go somewhere pretty soon, man. Just gonna book it.
I hope you're able to. I don't think this will become a big thing. I don't think they can rock two viruses that close back to back.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, bro, like you got to give us some space.
And back then, people weren't as poor, or at least they didn't feel as poor. So like they had more to lose. And also AI wasn't a thing, right?
Why would that matter?
The doomsday scenario of I'm not gonna have a job anyway. So like there's not even the potential for a better financial situation.
Gotcha.
So totally. I don't think people would comply.
I don't think people would comply at all. I remember Florida, man. People did not care. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I know. They definitely cared here, bro. We were like one of the worst places in the world for that stuff.
That's wild, man.
It was weird. And people got really weird. It's not natural to be isolated like that. Plus, it also made a lot of these people hyper politicized because they had never watched social media content before, right? Really, like a lot of older people were never on social media.
True.
And then they eventually got on social media because like a lot of people knew someone who made a TikTok and got a bunch of views. They're like, Jimmy made a TikTok, got 100K views. What the hell is a TikTok? and then they go download it and then they got you. And then that's how people became super political here. It wasn't like that before here, before 2020.
I definitely wouldn't have heard anything about that. I mean, you also had the Trump phenomenon as well. I guess it probably helped with that, just making it a little bit easier to have a character to hate.
Totally. He's great TV, like for hating him here. He's on the horn so much. And man, people are so obsessed with that guy. I know I say it all the time, but like, I hope you come at one point, Keith, so that you can bring it up and just like hear how obsessed people are.
That's interesting, man.
It's fascinating. He dominates our media networks.
Reminds me of this time when I went to, I happened to be in London. I was on my way to Portugal, and this was, I don't even know, it was right after the Queen died. It was 3 days after the Queen died. And I was in the airport and I was like, I need to go see the Buckingham Palace. Like, I've got like 3 hours before my flight. Let's see if I can get there and get back in time. So I go out into the city. I get on the tube.
It's a ballsy move.
It was silly. And I get to the Buckingham Palace, but on the way back or something, I'm on the train, on the tube. And these people are talking to me about Ron DeSantis. Somehow it came up that I live in Florida at the time. And they're like, oh, like, we love Ron DeSantis. Like, I was like, wait.
Was that your British accent?
Yeah, that was what I got for today.
Wild. But they loved Ron DeSantis. Is that because of how he handled COVID?
It was something about that. Yes, that's what it was. And I was just like, Bro, what? Like, what on earth do you have to do with Florida politics in the middle of the United Kingdom in London, bro? I was like,
Wow.
that's so wild. But it just made me think of that because um, I don't know, both the media in the United States kind of being something that gets messages across the globe, but also just the way that media will pick up on figures and people just either love or hate,
Yeah.
even when it's not necessarily directly relevant to them,
It's fascinating. Yeah. And that's only been a bigger thing with social media. But yeah, 2020, like when that whole thing went down, people changed a lot.
Yep. It's crazy, man. I remember just like the way people interact with each other, the way people turn on each other, man, in public. It's like, bro,
Sad.
this is crazy.
Also, the way that people changed their opinion on like social media and stuff too.
In what way did you see that?
Well, everyone became a creator. Before that, like,
Oh,
I'm telling you, man, it
so
was
good.
not normal, man. I was the
Wow.
only one that I knew of people making videos consistently.
That's super true, man. It just
It became a
like,
thing, right? I saw a post. It was on a post about this new virus, and then someone replied being like, "Yes, my chance to become a TikTok star."
yeah. Because eventually, I mean, because it kind of became out of necessity, right? Like,
Totally.
you have to find a way to make some money and do
Yeah.
something. So
My business took off during COVID because I was doing an online agency, right, for marketing.
yeah.
And so I had so many inbound leads come in at that time. So great, but it also created so many people that hadn't been involved before. So it definitely changed the game quite a bit.
Mhm.
And now it's like so normalized. I even see people who I never would have thought made content. Now I see them like they're LinkedIn content creators now and stuff. And like they were like vocally making fun of that stuff. Funny.
It's funny.
Man, like you'll get paid really well, but you'll get shit on for being early on things. But like that's the way to go. You know what I'm saying? Like the cost is the social stuff, but I know now that like you just got to be forward looking, right? Where if you really looked at social media, it was so inevitable. Like where we are today was so obvious. I was screaming this when I was like 15. I'm like, just think about the supply and demand economics of, because I would always be like, hey, this is on my screen, right? And this is on my TV. What is like the cost difference in making these things happen? And I'm like, this is like 1/1,000,000th of the price. Obviously, I'm being hyperbolic, but I'm like, this is so much cheaper.
I mean, it is though.
Yes. And then you factor into the fact that for news, even, I'm like, they're going to get cooked because you can get it out so much faster. So it's going to be more relevant as well.
Right.
And then the personalization of it, like a lot of the celebrities that we knew when we were growing up, we didn't love them. Like we did because they were the only option. Right? We would have loved to have seen someone who liked more of the same things as us or had similar experiences to us, but we just saw what was in front of us. So it was really obvious that this was going to become that. But TikTok was the push that got everyone to become a creator.
Wow. Yeah, dude, everyone is a freaking creator on TikTok. Like because I've never used it, but I'm like meeting people and like talking to people and they're like,
So funny.
yeah, I have a TikTok. I'm like, whoa, like
people used to like think I was super weird for doing that. Like let's say if I was talking to girls, they'd be
yes.
like, that's really cringe that you make videos.
Interesting, dude.
And now they do.
And now they're dancing all over the place.
Yeah. So it's just it's one of those things where it's we're always very slow to change, and then when it happens, it's usually pretty obvious if you're really paying attention.
And then so I was talking to this girl about the fact that people sell stuff on there too. Like apparently it's kind of normal for girls to like sell their clothes and stuff on TikTok shop and whatever. Like it's not like a crazy entrepreneur. Like it's just normal for them to do that.
Yeah. It's also so fascinating that because people are just kind of going into it, right? And they're not really like so many people that I see that are doing this full time. I'm like, oh, I could like help you so much. If you just change like 4 things, you can make so much more money. But you're so siloed now that like a lot of people don't even find education unless they like go actively looking for it because it's not as entertaining. So yeah, but it's become incredibly normalized, especially with TikTok Shop. That's a thing where people make a ton of money, and then Instagram now has the same sort of thing being built in. And have you ever heard of Whatnot?
Oh, dang, that's like a major, massive throwback. I think I had heard of that, but
so it's a live shopping thing.
Okay.
So you stream and you sell some crap there, and people buy that.
Yeah, now that's a crazy thought for me. I feel like Gary Vee talked a lot about that, right?
That's one of his biggest growth tools for his NFT project VFriends, is they sell like the stuff through that, and they're really trying to dominate on that platform. And so if they do win long term, that could be a massive differentiator between them and other projects. So we'll see. But yeah, the live shopping thing, it seems weird to me. Go ahead.
Whatever happened to Wish? Does that still exist?
Wish basically became Temu, no? Like
pretty much.
They're not the same thing, but like basically the same thing.
Right. Temu took their place, I would say. Yeah.
And Mary says, good point. We need a social media detox. Yeah, I think across the board, people should probably consume less social media. But the first step, I think, is just being deliberate about what you are consuming. Like if you were consuming educational long form content and you were constantly applying what you were learning, that is so much better than garbage short form content. And to test this, I would say, do recall challenges, right? Like, can you really remember what you consumed?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can, I know you won't be able to do from short form. I know that. But if you can from a long form perspective, then you're probably not consuming too much if you're able to actually comprehend it, and that's why you're here. But if it's going in one out the other, then maybe not.
Yeah. What a sale said. Hold on.
And I do think there's a massive difference between social media and YouTube too, because it's not really social on YouTube. Like people don't really watch their friends.
I feel like they're eventually going to change to make it more social.
More like that.
Because it just doesn't even make sense why they don't. Like I don't get it.
Yeah, I think it does change the culture of it a lot. But they are adding. Apparently, they were talking about adding in the DM features back.
That's the one thing. Oh, because they used to have it. I didn't even know that.
A while ago.
Word. Because I remember they failed with Google Plus or whatever.
What's that?
Google Plus. That was like their social. They were trying a social media thing.
Got it.
And it was just like attached to your Google account rather than but it just completely failed.
Interesting.
I had a little bit of a Google Plus account.
But
yeah, it was just way too hard. I mean, no one wanted to use that crap, honestly.
Totally get it, man. Totally get it.
And more monkey business. Lockdown brought me to YouTube. That's crazy to me. I've seen that happen to people, but it's just such a wild phenomenon to me. Like YouTube, I grew up on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like,
well, we grew up with it. That's the whole point, right?
Like YouTube is like, bro, like there's no life without YouTube.
YouTube was such a cheat code. It was such a blessing to have access to all this stuff. So
yeah, you're right though.
It was a natural thing for us, right?
Yeah.
When you have that kind of consumption habit where it's normalized, then you start exploring a lot more. A lot of people think about the 0 to 1, right? That was the problem. Is how do they? Yeah. It's the data collection. The thing I talk about all the time for why TikTok gave the best experience the fastest. It was the least friction to data. Whereas this, like, let's say someone new comes on, I got to figure out how this whole thing works. I got to click on some random shit that most of it I probably don't like, and then eventually find things I do. Think about that. That was actually a massive problem. Was that it was primarily a search engine, so people would come to solve immediate problems, and if they only came to solve an immediate problem, they didn't click something else. You don't really know much about that person.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's why they changed away from the whole subscriptions algorithm meaning a lot, was because it was horrible for data.
Fair.
So
fair.
That's why we
so fair.
That's why we advocate you guys turn on the notifications for this channel and subscribe to it, because otherwise, like, if you don't turn on notifications, like, they won't show you the content.
Yeah, I've realized how crazy important that is now with my channel, because like people keep on coming up and they're like, whenever my views go down, people are like, this isn't showing up in my recommendations and this and that, and I'm like, that's super interesting, bro. Like,
that's so not only do you need these engagement metrics to show quality or interest to push it to more people, it's also for that same person to see it again. Right? So it's like one of the things is that like it so that it actually shows it to you again. I'll admit I'm addicted to YouTube. I'm probably pretty close to addicted to YouTube too. So I'm with you, Mary.
I didn't even think about it like that, but for sure. For sure.
I could go a while without it though. Like, I know I could. It's just I get a lot of utility from it.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know if I would say I'm like addicted to it. I just like I always am on it to like make sure that I'm getting the information that I would like to have.
And I rarely watch stuff that's under half an hour.
Fair.
Most things that I'm watching are like 30 minutes to 3 hours plus.
Right.
So
3 hours plus is crazy.
a lot of the lecture, some of our stuff's 3 hours plus. But yeah, it's definitely a different experience. Like if you compare, I would love for them to do studies down the line in terms of, I don't know if IQ would be the appropriate metric, but some sort of cognitive test for like the difference in people who spent time on like no social media, YouTube, and then the other ones.
Yeah, technically one of those shorts I did, it says that short form content, a study came out that said that short form content does affect your attention.
Totally.
Like if you're and technically it said addiction to short form content
Okay.
is a sign of you having like poor attention span. Like you can't.
Makes sense.
Essentially.
Yeah, I think it's poison because it's just, even the positive content, it's not really like, I don't know, can you have that kind of change in like a bite-sized morsel? Like the one thing that I give is that a lot of people who are big on motivational content, like I see what they like now. And so like the same guy who was big on this 10 years ago, his life's the exact same and he still likes a lot of motivational shit. You know what I mean?
Right. How are you now said memes and Marcus got me addicted to YouTube. Let's go.
That's not that's good, I think, as long as it's the right stuff.
Go.
And then no, I usually like the highest I'll usually go is 2.5, but there are some people that talk really slowly and I'll crank that up to 3. But that's usually
fair.
the highest. Because some people, the variance in terms of like how people talk is crazy. It's like some people, even at 2, they talk too fast where I'm like, I can't consume this. But there's also some people that I'm like, oh my God, I've got it on 2 and I'm like, this guy's still talking slow. Hurry up.
that rarely happens to me. I'm usually good at 2 unless I'm just trying to like eat through something. You know?
I forget that I watched exclusively on like 2+. And then my sister, who used to live with me a long time ago, she's like, Ben, I think you've gotten faster. She's like, I used to be able to pull out individual words and now I can't do that. Is what she said.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But anything else y'all want to chop it up in the chat? I agree. I think that avoiding the use of TikTok and IG either through some sort of app blocker or just deleting the apps outright is a way to go. And where I think it's all about using the tools and not allowing them to use you. Right? Like Instagram is a fantastic networking tool. And that's for anything, even if it's not for business. Let's say you want friends, right? Like that's why people are like, oh, I can't meet people. It's like, fuck off. You literally have access to everybody on the internet through either Instagram or LinkedIn. Bro, send someone a message. Say you think they're interesting. I'd love to hang out with you. You do that to 10 people, you're going to get at least 1 reply.
On LinkedIn, bro? I tried that once. Did not go well.
Thank you so much. On Instagram, you could totally do that.
The thing is LinkedIn is my type of place. You know what I mean? Like, so I was trying to slide on the DMs
business.
on LinkedIn.
That's for business. What, you're using that for dating? You're dating on LinkedIn?
Listen, all I'm saying is, if you wanted to filter, you know what I mean, for like how you wanted to look at that, I was like, hey, LinkedIn, I might have to give this a shot. So I gave it a shot a couple of times. It didn't work though.
Professionally or like romantically?
No, it wasn't professional.
No, that's crazy.
I did it in a professional way, you know what I mean? But that wasn't necessarily what I was trying to do.
Yeah, that's wild. Okay, I think Instagram's the more appropriate place for that. Instagram is the world's biggest dating app. So that's wild.
Yeah, I've never used Instagram like that. I mean, it's starting to come to me in this way though.
Oh, especially now that you got followers? Oh yeah.
But
I really want to see those messages that you sent out there in LinkedIn world. Yeah, you got to have some screenshots.
They're
for
smooth,
me.
Bro. They're smooth. Trust.
I'll be the judge of that. I want to see those.
Oh man.
You got to send me at least one, man.
I'll find something. I've definitely sent thousands of LinkedIn.
Thousands?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
To girls?
No, just in general. So I'm just saying to filter and find those.
Got it. It's probably around a specific time period, no?
Yeah, but that's the time period where I was shooting DMs.
That's genuinely absurd. I love it though. Honestly, maybe that's the new meta.
You know, I'm just saying, you know, quality. It's not a bad place. Not a bad
No, you know what? I understand the logic. Like seriously, right? Because if they're serious about that, chances are they're pretty serious about carrying themselves professionally, and then that usually comes with other positive qualities for the most part. So yeah, I get you.
Think about trying to find the people on LinkedIn on Instagram.
Also, yeah, they probably have way more DMs in their Instagram than
100%.
LinkedIn.
Come on, dude. This is actually genius, man. This is
Yeah.
my social media genius right here.
It definitely could have been, but you'd have to be so exceptional on the execution because you're fighting so much stigma.
That's true.
But you could definitely make it work. It's high risk, high reward here, buddy.
Huge risk.
I have heard girls complain about that. They're like, he's trying to hit on me on LinkedIn. Yeah. This is great. Have I got a job for you? Be like, big opportunity. You know, like when they send you those hiring emails. Big opportunity. Single, handsome man.
Oh, snap.
That's so good, man. Well, there you go, folks. If you're looking for a significant other, try LinkedIn.
Listen, it's super underutilized. Where's the underpriced attention, guys?
That is a big deal, man. So maybe you've cracked it, honestly. Someone's going to come out with a LinkedIn dating course. Keith D.
Oh, snap.
That's awesome. But yeah, for next time, we gotta do an analysis of like DM.
We'll find some.
Perfect. That's awesome. Well, anything else you got?
No, man. Just a couple things that we gotta get your help with, guys. One of them is that we just started this highlights channel. And this is a channel where you can find highlights from our conversations with the incredible guests that we've been having on.
People are loving it too.
Talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, so for a new channel to be cooking like this in terms of views is a very big deal, and it's a testament to, we already knew the content was high quality, but getting people in the door, it's a lot more consumable like this. It's a format they're a lot more accustomed to. But we've already reached almost a quarter of the watch time that we need, which is crazy for monetization. That means that people are loving it, but people don't click subscribe. That's the hard part. So if we could have your guys' help for the subscriptions, that'd be super, super helpful to us, whether you're here live or watching it on the replay after. It would mean the world to us if you could help us get there. It's going to help us. That's going to be a massive tool in helping us expand the ecosystem to bring on more people to help us, because there's so many more things that we want to be doing, but I'm stretched so thin. Keith's stretched so thin. Like everyone's doing a lot of stuff that's already part of the team. And so the more that you guys can help us there, that would mean the world to us. It's free to you, means the world to us.
Yep. You can find the link to the Memes and Markets Highlights channel in the description of this video. Give that a click, give us a subscribe. Helps a ton with everything that we are doing here.
Yeah, we talked to Clive Thompson. He's got his highlights have already been cut over there. So if you want like the cut down version of that, you can go find it on the highlights channel. People are really liking that. Like between the two of them on a brand new channel, one already has over 1,000 views and the other one has 877.
Yeah, clearly some demand for this. And yeah, so for the episodes that you guys might have missed in the past, this is a great way to catch up without having to watch the whole live stream, as well as this is an amazing way for you to be able to share the content with your friends and family as well.
Totally. That's really what it's for. A lot more approachable. And then we get them in here with this and they're like, well, this is from a live stream. What's up with that? And then they come hang out with us and then we have a lot of fun. And then the stream grows and then we start getting on some even crazier guests and we all have fun.
Yeah, it's just a big party, you know?
Yeah, it's just having fun.
Fantastic. Well,
we've gotten 2. So there's 2 legends in the chat.
2. Only 2 legends in the chat.
I thought we had way more than that. Man, come on.
Ain't that something? Would have never thought. Out of all 50 of you, there'd be 2 legends.
Crazy.
So yeah, that's that. The only other thing is obviously Spotify.
3 legends now.
We've got 3 legends in the building. For the rest of you who are super ultra mega legends, we're also on Spotify, and we love when you guys come over here and give us a little bit of a tap on that play button so that you can leave us a review
and follow us. They've sent me another notification.
And follow us because
they're roasting us.
They're saying, look, you guys aren't doing it right.
They're like, you don't have enough followers. I was like, come on. And then also Shout out to Jack if you're watching this, man. We also do have some people that watch over on Apple Podcasts. So if you are consuming there, give us a review there too. You can give us a 5-star rating. That also helps a lot there. And they also have recently added video. So we don't have the video there quite yet because our host doesn't allow it. But in the very near future, if our existing host doesn't allow it soon, we'll switch hosting providers. So if you're listening right now on Apple Podcasts, you can still show us some love via the ratings. And we thank you and we appreciate you.
On Apple Music and on Spotify. That's it for me, man. Appreciate everybody for being here. Shout out to Robbie J. Davis for holding down the chat. We
As
really
always, we appreciate you tremendously. RD is a living legend. And thank you for a producer Sharp in the background. We appreciate you tremendously, as always.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, we're excited. We got a lot of stuff we're working on in the background that we'll be talking about very, very soon with all of y'all. And we'll be back again on Tuesday.
Make today the best day of your life, folks.
That's it. Be the light that you want to see, everybody. And we will see all of you on Tuesday. Have a good one.